Are you unknowingly holding yourself back in business? Well, something called learned helplessness might be the culprit. If you find yourself stuck, unable to move, no matter what you do, you keep doing it, keep working, and you keep being stuck in the same place, there may be something going on. Some unhelpful limiting beliefs that are tied to this idea of learned helplessness. If you want to know what learned helplessness is, how it shows up in your business, and what you can do today to start moving away from that stuck feeling, keep watching. Welcome to Inner Business, the podcast that delves deep into the soul of entrepreneurship. My name is Selena Woodward, seasoned business owner, qualified business coach, and intuitive guide. I'm going to offer you actionable steps to increase your revenue whilst we explore how you are showing up in your business. Let's explore the blocks and connect the dots on your journey to business fulfillment. Hi there, and welcome to the Inner Business Podcast. I am your gracious host, Selena Woodward, the business coach who likes to ask you, what is your business trying to teach you? And today I want to talk about something pretty uncomfortable: learned helplessness. When you hear those words, learned helplessness, how do you feel? I know when I first heard it, I was like, as if anyone would learn to be helpless. Who wants to be helpless? Learned helplessness. What are you talking about? But I recently had an experience where I had to learn what learned helplessness was, and I had to work to unblock it. Now, you know that I believe very strongly that you could read all the business books in the world, you could attend all the business courses in the world, and still stay exactly where you are. Because knowledge on its own is not the full formula for business success. When we couple that with self-awareness and we tune into what our body is feeling and thinking, we can start to identify where we might be blocking ourselves. So if you are one of those serial purchasers of online courses, if you've invested in business coaching and it didn't really shift the needle for you, or if you read every business book you can get your hand on, and learn because that feels like you are going to crack that nut, and that's how we move forward. Keep leaning in. Now, I have purchased loads of online courses. I am an alumni of Digital Course Academy and all sorts of other things. And I learned some really valuable things from every single one. And as I was building my previous six-figure business, parts of those courses were definitely involved in that. We know by now that StoryBrand and Business Made Simple were a big part of my success in my last business. But if you are somebody who absorbs all that information and doesn't move forward, then we need to stop and think. Because if you are thinking, well, there's no point in investing in coaching, there's no point in reading that book, it doesn't make any difference, then we need to unpack that. I want to start with a story about my own learned helplessness and how that has shown up in the last 6 months for me. Now, I know what it's like running a business by yourself. I haven't done this for a while, started again at the beginning and with no likes, no follows, having to build everything from scratch. I had a brilliant big business before, so this has been quite a shock for me. And that's been awesome because it's brought up some really good stuff for me to work on as I grow this new business. So see if you can relate to this. I'm a business coach. I have nearly a decade of experience building businesses. I know what to do. I know how to build businesses. And yet, I found myself in a pattern where I kept reaching out to other business coaches and seeing what they could offer me. I would download their lead magnet, I'd follow through their funnel, and yes, it is fun to research different people's sales funnels and see how they work. And I might have been telling myself that was what I was doing, but it isn't the truth. And every time I would get to the sales call, I would hear them telling me about the package they were offering. And I would think, but I know that, and I've got that, and I don't need that. And I'd get to the end, And instead of celebrating the fact that I have all these skills and I have grown beyond what they were offering me, I would use that as a way to beat myself up. Oh, well, if you're doing all that, and if you can get results like this for your clients, why are you only seeing these numbers? I was really being mean to myself. It was very interesting. And I think I did this 4 times. And in the final conversation, I thought, this has to stop, because instead of talking to business coaches to help me, which is what I thought I was doing, I'm actually in a cycle here, in a pattern. What am I doing? So I stopped and I went and saw my NLP practitioner. You know that person, Sue. She's in an episode here. I will put the link below and you can go listen to the episode with Sue if you go to the show notes at selenawoodward.com/021. But Sue is my NLP life coach. And I went to see her and I was like, this is coming up and this is coming up. And there were tears and there was all sorts. And there were some deep things. I have worked on my self-awareness for years, and you always think that's it. It's never it, is it? There were some deep things coming up. And it turned out that I was operating from learned helplessness. Despite having all the tools that I already needed, despite knowing how to do this, I was avoiding taking steps in my own business, getting things wrong and playing with the numbers, which is what we talked about last week. You're about to understand why all these topics have come up on the podcast. Last week, we were talking about mistakes, right? And what they have to teach you. Well, I was avoiding making mistakes. And anytime I made a mistake, even though part of me knew that was essential for growing a business, another part of me was terrified of failing, which it doesn't exist. It's really odd when you have these contrasts in yourself. I had some learned helplessness. I had learned that I needed somebody else to validate me before I could take the step. I had learned to deny myself praise and compliments because there was some imposter syndrome popping up there. Who am I to do this? I don't know what I'm doing. I need a guide. Now, I do need a guide. I've talked about that very openly on these podcasts. My guide at the moment is very much on the self-awareness side, and I am in a business coaching group, which is where we meet once a month, Goals Club. It's not like we talk about how to grow our business. We're actually talking about what we're doing in our business and listening to each other and sharing our goals and our KPIs and evaluating and reflecting on it. That's what I need right now as my guide. I need other women around me to help me along. Okay. I don't need to learn how to do sales and marketing. That's my jam. And yet there I was going externally, constantly seeking validation. This was learned helplessness. Learned helplessness comes from a place where you have taught yourself, or something has happened repeatedly in your life where you have created a pattern to support you. So obviously I found failure really hard as a kid, or at some point in my life, what I did was decide to have somebody else tell me what to do, because then it wasn't my fault and I could push it back on them. Oh, isn't that interesting? There was something in me that wouldn't take responsibility, that didn't want the discomfort of something not going right. So I was seeking validation. I was seeking to have someone else tell me what to do so that I could then push it back. That's one of the big reasons in my own coaching, I will always say to you as your business coach, I am not here to tell you what to do. I am here to help you connect the dots. I will give you the business strategies and I will listen to you and hold space and I will guide you, but you have to make the decision about what you do, because this is your business. And I wasn't living that truth for myself. There was this real, mismatch, disjoint going on. So I had to go away and do some work to clear that learned helplessness. And I can tell you now, there will be more examples. So maybe things like procrastination. Do you sit there and overthink things and not actually take action? That could be a sign of learned helplessness. And you might want to take a moment to unpack, what is it that you get from overthinking? What are you protecting yourself from? Why are you feeling like you can't move forward? Anytime in your business you feel stuck And like, there's no point, because whatever you do, it won't work. We have got to the point of learned helplessness. A huge alarm bell is sounding, because learned helplessness is where our brain has decided there is no point, no matter what I do, it will always turn out this way. And sometimes there are patterns in our business that show up as learned helplessness that really get in our way. So think about procrastination. Think about, what do I hear? I hear things like, I don't want to do my social media every Tuesday because I don't know if I'll be in flow on a Tuesday. I want to do it when I feel it, I want to feel good about it. Well, that's fine. I totally understand the idea of being in your creative flow. That is important. My question to you is, why do you feel you will not be in creative flow? What stops you from being in creative flow? And why do you not have control over whether or not that happens? Learned helplessness would suggest that you've decided that you can't possibly do social media unless you feel like it. Why? If you want to grow a business, you need structure and you need commitment and you need consistency. You can't have consistency if you don't know when you're going to be in the mood, Sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? It's harsh. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be harsh. But I get curious, like, well, why? Why are you not in the flow? Why can't you make sure that you are in what do you do to get your creative juices going? Like, before I record this podcast, I go for a walk and I chat about this topic with ChatGPT on my headphones, like I'm having a phone call with a mate. And then I come back and I'm full of ideas to share with you. No script or anything. I've just got it in my head. That's one way I get into the creative flow. Even if I've woken up with 2 hours sleep and I can't find any coffee, I will get myself into the creative flow. I know how. There's no block there for me. Okay, so think about moments in your business where you get stuck. That could be learned helplessness. Comment below what shows up for you. Now, let's take a moment to really reflect on that. So if you're driving, just tune in and listen and make a list in your mind whilst paying very careful attention to the road. But if you're at home, take a seat, get yourself comfy, grab a pen and paper. We're going to take some deep breaths together and we're going to really tune in to discomfort in our business. Okay? You ready? All right, take a big, deep belly breath. Really expanding the lungs and the diaphragm. Just fill your whole self with beautiful, gorgeous oxygen. And then release with a sigh. Let's do that one more time. Big, deep breath in. Release with a sigh. Let it all go. Do you need another one? Go on then. Okay, feeling grounded back into ourselves now. I want you to think back over the last week, maybe the last 2 weeks. Rewind the clock on the videotape of your memories all the way back to 2 weeks ago. Can you remember what was on your to-do list 2 weeks ago? Did you have a goal to call some clients back or set up an email sequence or talk to your sales team about a project? Have a chat with your marketing team about a new product that you're launching? Did you have it on there to review your website? What were you going to do? What were your goals? Now watch yourself. Fast forward slowly, replay last week, and pause anytime you catch yourself doing something on repeat or something feels uncomfortable. You can see yourself blocked. Slowly play the tape, pause and take note of any discomfort, anything you're watching yourself do on repeat. Are you avoiding your work by standing around in the kitchen having coffees and snacks? I do that. Did you have a sudden urge to go to Canva and create 42 media assets because you really didn't want to do the bookkeeping? Did you decide you urgently needed to create more product right now for some reason, rather than do the thing on the list? Are you spotting anything? Keep moving forward, closer and closer to the now. When you get to now, open your eyes, get your pen, make a note right now before it all falls out of your head. What did you notice? Where were you stuck in your business? What felt uncomfortable? What were you doing to avoid things? Write it all down now. If you're driving, just remember, recall it. And if you need to, pause me, and then come back. Now, if you've come back, welcome back. Have a look at your list. Can you see any learned helplessness? Anything there, like, I can't do that today because this, I can't do this, no point. If someone says to you, hey, do you want to come to a networking meeting? Do you immediately go, oh no, I don't fit in at those networking meetings? Interesting. Why not? If someone says, hey, how's your social media going? Oh, I don't do TikTok or Instagram because, I don't want to get involved in that. Why not? Is there any learned helplessness there? Is there any sign there of something that is holding you back? Comment below if you like. I bet we've got some similarities. And hit like on this video right now and send me some validation. Apparently I need external validation. Hit like on this video. But also subscribe, because if you love these conversations where we take this business stuff and we get to the heart of it, this is for you. Hit subscribe. Don't miss an episode. I want you in the team, in the community. What did you get? What did you write down? Did you find anything? I hope so. Here are 3 things you can do right now to help you reframe this helplessness. You are not as helpless as you think. You have a story. We talked about this last week, didn't we? There is a story in there. You need to notice it. Well done for making your list, because the first step is noticing stuff you learned helplessness. See, I can notice. All right, so the next step is to think about what's happening. What is it that's showing up for you? And you may need support with that. That's totally good. Go get some support with that. Find yourself a coach who can help you work through this. I'm happy to be that coach, or an NLP practitioner, whatever works for you. Find out what works for you. Now, step 1. We're going to think about big tasks that feel overwhelming. So let's look on your list. Is there anything there that you just are dreading because you have a story about how big a job it is and it feels super overwhelming? I'll share that when I closed Edufolios, I avoided doing that for a little while because it felt like it was going to be terrifyingly big and really hard to do. And actually, when I looked into it, there were 5 jobs I needed to do that. But in my head, I had some helplessness. I can't do this. It's clearly going to involve all this stuff that I'm not qualified for. Honestly, story, learned helplessness. So you got a big task. Is it the bookkeeping? Have you been doing that? We're almost in the middle of a new quarter. Have you done last quarter's BAS? No? Okay, well, put that on the list. Is it the social media? Is it a hard conversation you've got to have? What is it? I'm really interested to know. Whatever it is, you're going to take that big, overwhelming task and you're going to chunk it down. Now, if you look at that and you still can't do it, you're like, right, sure, I've got to do the bookkeeping. Step 1, got to go find my receipts. Step 2, got to log into Xero, whatever your software is. Break it down. Celebrate each step as you go. Tick, Give yourself tick boxes for the dopamine, whatever you need. We need to get rid of this icky, helpless feeling and make it clear to our brain we are doing this. Look at us go. We got this. Whoop. And if you need a tool to help you break down a big thing into little things, head to Goblin Tools. They are awesome at this. I will put a link to Goblin Tools over on the show notes at selenawoodward.com/021. I'll put all of these links at the bottom in the further reading section. Go check them out. Goblin Tools, you can put in there, I need to do my bookkeeping, press enter, and it will break it down into steps for you. And if it says like log into your bookkeeping software and you don't know what to do, you can press a button again. It'll go log in, you put your username all the way down. My son likes to keep pressing the button until it breaks and it keeps repeating itself. But basically it takes a big thing and it chunks it down for you step by step. Want to know how to check your views on your website? Tell Goblin Tools, I want to know I want to break down how many people are visiting my website. Press the button and it will tell you how to do that step by step. It's an awesome tool. selenawoodward.com/021. I'll pop it in the show notes if you need some technological help to break down that task. The goal being to unlearn the helplessness, to take action, positive action, little steps, one step at a time. Even if all you do is find all the receipts. Tick, you are one step closer. Go you. Okay, awesome. Second thing I want you to do is, if you are like me and you get quite emotional, which is amazing, good on you. Emotions are all good. They are signposts for something. Means something's happening for you. We want to explore that. Then let's incorporate some meditation or visualization, something to regulate your nervous system so that this learned helplessness, if it's bringing up an emotional response, you got a strategy. Maybe it's music. I will share my playlist of awesome different frequencies that I listen to when I work. If you want, head to selenawoodward.com/021 or look in the description below. I'll share the link there. Maybe there's this particular piece of music that you need in the background. Maybe you need to do some meditation. Got a free meditation on my website. Go grab it. selenawoodward.com/meditation. All this stuff for free everywhere. Grab it. No more learned helplessness. You can do this. Let's just make sure that we have some practice in our day to help us stay regulated so that we can move forward. So second tip is get regulated. Go for a walk, do a meditation, listen to some music while you work, whatever it takes. Third thing is growth mindset. This is what we were talking about last episode 20. It's about understanding that in order to run a business, you have to be okay with taking risks and you have to be okay with making mistakes. We have to stop seeing a problem as a really bad thing and see it as an opportunity. So I want you to reframe. If you're anything like me, what I was doing was seeking validation externally rather than looking at the numbers and watching them and going, okay, well, there's my validation because look, there's people coming to the website and there are people signing up. Yay. All right. So I want you to really work hard to reframe. So if you look at your list and you see, I can't do X, Y, and Z because of Y, can you see an opportunity for growth there? Do you need to go and learn something? Do you need to ask for help? What is a step you can take that means you are no longer helpless? There are people around to support you. Go and ask someone who might know. Go to YouTube and find a video where someone walks you through it. What can you do, my beautiful, clever human, to help you out of this situation? Notice the helplessness, reframe it as an opportunity for growth. Make a plan to grow so you can get past it. Goodbye, learned helplessness. How does that sound? Which one of these is going to be your favorite and your first thing to try? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to hit like if you're liking what you're hearing and subscribe so you don't miss another episode. So to summarize, if you are stuck, if something keeps repeating itself and you can't move forward, the culprit might well be learned helplessness. You are not as helpless as you think you are. In fact, maybe you don't think you're helpless. Your subconscious is telling you stories. The first step in working through learned helplessness is to notice something is up. So that's why we need to take time to reflect and connect with what's not feeling awesome in our business so we can identify what's coming up and work out if we have a story, if we have learned to be helpless in this situation. I gave you 3 ways in which you can begin to move towards being empowered and not helpless, a place where you can help yourself. Take a big idea and chunk it down into small steps and celebrate each one of those steps as you complete it. Make sure that you have something in your day that helps you stay regulated and calm and grounded, because this work requires you to be really in a good place. So we talked about meditation, visualization, going for a walk, listening to some music to calm your nervous system. And 3, be prepared to do the work to reframe whatever it is that's going on. So if you can't do the bookkeeping because that's too hard, find out who can help you with that so you can take the first step. If it's too hard, great. Let's learn from the fact that we don't know. Let's be okay with the fact that we don't know. And then instead of being helpless and going, I don't know, let's go find out. Let's go find out what we need. And if we don't want to do that, pay somebody else to do that for you. Do not be helpless. You don't need to be helpless. And remember, if you are thinking about investing in coaching or another book or another online course, yay, I love that. You can see I've got my collections and my certificates. But if you aren't taking action when you receive that knowledge, maybe you are a victim of learned helplessness. Come and chat to me if that's been going on. Head to selenawoodward.com/book and let's have a conversation. Or come and join me for my quarterly reflection club. It's a beautiful community of business women who meet quarterly to reflect on their business and what's going on for them. You can do that too by heading to selenawoodward.com/quarterly. I can't wait. It would be great to see you there. All right. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Inner Business. What is your key takeaway? What is your oh my goodness moment? Comment below. Hit like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on your podcast software, make sure you subscribe so you get notified for next Wednesday's episode. Keep building your business 100% authentically and in line with who you are. Develop this self-awareness and nothing will stop you from achieving your dreams. Take care, my friend.